And now on Box News, the Dr. Lockwood Show, featuring Dr. J. Lockwood, PhD in about everything it's possible to have a PhD in. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. J. Lockwood. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we have a bit of a pressing subject on our agenda, that is nuclear waste. I'm sure many of you have heard of it, but few of you actually know what it is or why it's an issue in today's society. I hope to shed some light on the subject and leave you all a little wiser after you've watched this edition of the J. Lockwood program, after this break.
Ah, Doritos. Thanks.
No problem. Snuck these out of Tim's locker. What's the big deal?
No. This is bad. Tim loves Doritos.
So, who doesn't?
Hide these! We gotta get out of here before... Tim!
Hello, it's nice to be back on the set. Before our short break, we were about to discuss nuclear waste. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would be a very good person to ask about that particular subject, because I read an article on it on Wikipedia. Anyway, nuclear waste is produced by the process called nuclear fission, which is the process that powers today's nuclear reactors and atomic bombs. And the way it works is, see, here we have this uranium-235 atom, which is a relatively stable isotope of uranium. And then, to engineer a nuclear reaction, what we'll do is we'll take this extra electron, just this free electron, and we'll force feed it to this atom, and it'll cause it to become uranium-236, which is extremely unstable, and it can't hold together for very long. And it's going to have to break apart. And whenever that happens, a couple things are going to happen. First, a bunch of neutrons are going to come off at nearly the speed of light and hit other uranium atoms, causing a chain reaction. And the second thing that happens, and this is slightly more important if you want to get some energy, is that some of the mass of this atom is actually converted into energy. And I know some of you are going to scratch your heads and say, oh, conservation of mass, can't do that. Matter can never be created or destroyed. 5th grade science teacher told me that. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. They only told you that to make life simple. Some of the neutrons from the uranium atom are actually converted straight into energy using the formula E equals mc squared. Sound familiar? That little formula is the reason that nuclear power is so clean and efficient. If you're still confused, don't go anywhere. We'll have it all clear after this short break.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Does a former drill sergeant make a terrible therapist?
And that's why yellow makes me sad, I think.
That's interesting. You know what makes me sad?
You do! Maybe we should chug on over to Mamby-Pamby land, where maybe we can find some self-confidence for you, you jackwagon!
Tissue? Cry, baby.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Before the break, we were discussing why nuclear fission produces so much energy, and the answer lies in the familiar formula E equals mc squared. This was published by Albert Einstein in 1905, and it is a handy conversion factor of matter to energy. So, to give an example, let's see how much energy can obtain from 1 gram of mass. Just 1 gram. So, anyway, we have the E here, which stands for the energy produced, the M, which stands for the mass to be converted, and then we have the C, which is the speed of light, and then the little 2 means squared. So, it's a really big number. So, of course, when we put on all our numbers, we'll have, X, we don't know this, and then 1 gram, and then, 9 million something. And then when you multiply it all out, you'll find out that 1 gram of matter is equivalent to 250 million kilowatt hours of electricity. And that's a lot. I mean, to give a comparison, the average American home consumes 11,000 kilowatt hours of electricity every year. So, with 1 gram of uranium, you could supply power to an entire small town of people for an entire year. And with that, let's go into our next break.
Mike, come on!
Mike, what is
your deal, man?
Come on, man. You've been riding me all day.
Mike, you're playing like Betty White out there.
That's not what your girlfriend said.
Baby. Eat Snickers. Better?
Better.
Hey! I'm all bad!
That hurt. You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers satisfies.
Nuclear energy. It's clean. It's efficient. It makes giant amounts of energy in a small amount of time. We have enough fuel to last hundreds of years. It makes up 6% of the United States' total energy usage. Why? There are two problems with nuclear energy. The first is that it's difficult to control. Want proof? Look what happened to Chernobyl, Ukraine. Nuclear power plants usually have control rods in them that contain metals that absorb some of those neutrons from the splitting atoms. And that controls how fast the chain reaction occurs. During a test of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, a series of explosions happened in the reactor that destroyed the control rods, allowing the atoms to split at an uncontrolled rate. The result was a nuclear explosion that destroyed the entire block of the power plant and lifted the 1,200-ton cover several feet into the air. By the way, that is your basic nuclear weapon right there, is a uncontrolled nuclear reaction. Now, destroying buildings is pretty bad, but there is a second problem with nuclear energy that has the potential to end all life on Earth as we know it. Right after we get back.
They say a man should always dress for the job he wants. So why am I dressed up like a pirate in this restaurant? It's all because some hacker stole my identity. Now I'm in here every evening serving chowder and iced tea. Should have gone to freecreditreport.com. I could have seen this coming at me like an atom bomb. They monitor your credit and send you email alerts, so you don't end up selling fish to tourists in t-shirts. Offer applies with enrollment and Triple Advantage.
Before the break, we were talking about the end of the world. In a power plant, after all the uranium fuel is used up, the end result is something called nuclear waste. And what nuclear waste is unstable particles that emit radiation. This is how it works. Atoms don't like having too many neutrons. So when they do, they can either give off alpha particles, which is 2 protons and 2 neutrons, or beta particles, which are electrons. With fewer electrons, the nucleus can handle more neutrons. These alpha and beta particles are very harmful. They cause genetic mutations that can lead to all sorts of nasty diseases, including cancer. When exposed straight up to radioactivity, it causes burns and cell death. And please, if you do not enjoy pain, do not inhale a source of radioactive particles. They do a lot more damage from the inside than from the outside. Coming up next, we have an interview with an eminent politician from the great state of Texas. Don't go away.
Go meat! Go meat! I said a beef hot links!
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 I said a brat beef kielbasa hot smoked sausage cheddar wurst!
I said a brat beef kielbasa hot smoked sausage cheddar wurst!
When I say Hillshire, you say farm! Hillshire!
Farm! Go meat!
Joining us on the program today is Senator Jay Lockwood, a key Republican from Texas and the majority leader. How are you today, Senator?
I'm feeling fine, Doctor.
Now, we dragged you onto this program today to talk about the bill you introduced to the Senate, about the new American nuclear power agenda. Could you please tell the American public a little bit about this bill?
Certainly, Doctor. What this bill will do is basically remove all regulations and limitations on private nuclear power plants, except for the very most basic. You know, get your fuel legally, dispose of waste on your own land, don't build too near to residential areas, all that. We're hoping this bill will make some people who own the fossil fuel power plants kind of diversify their business a little bit, make a little more money for their benefit, increase the U.S.'s energy output for our benefit, and help the environment a little for our children's benefit. Those regulations and limitations are mainly what are scaring off all the entrepreneurs from building power plants. We should just get rid of them and let free enterprise do the work for us. Plus, laws make our briefcases heavy and no one likes that.
What is the general reaction in Congress to this bill?
Most of the Republicans and the Independents like it. Of course, Speaker of the House, Malia Obama, hates it. Though she hates everything I do. None of the Democrats have even read it yet.
How do you think the public will react?
I think it's going to scare the pants off for about 2 months after we pass it. Then they're going to realize that nuclear power is the way to go. I know the Greens will warm up to it once they realize that nuclear power doesn't make this pollution.
Well, thank you for your time today, Senator.
My pleasure. All you out there who support my bill, call your local congressman. They'll know I put you up to it, of course.
Goodbye, Senator.
Bye, Doctor.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who missed it, that was Senate Majority Leader Jay Lockwood. Great guy. I've had the wonderful opportunity to meet him on a few occasions. Anyway, that just about wraps up the time we have today. Thank you for watching. Tune in next week for a special show on the zombie apocalypse. Good night. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we have a bit of a pressing agenda. That is nuclear waste. I'm sure many of you have heard of it, but few of you have absolutely... Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we have a bit of a pressing subject on our agenda, that is nuclear waste. I'm sure many of you have heard of it, but very few of you have actually... I hate this! Racism!